Hi friends, this is Indranil. I'm back with a new tutorial series here. It's actually not a series. It will be individual videos, and in this particular playlist, rather, we will be looking into the front end, how we can create and use HTML and CSS to create some challenges. So I found this website, Front End Mentor, as you can see on the screen. So here you can log in with your own ID. You can sign up here, and once you are signed in, you can go to the challenges section, and you can uh, choose the free ones, or if you want, you can also subscribe to their premium subscription here. And the benefit of getting a premium subscription is that you will get all the design files and the sketch files, which is really handy. Otherwise, if you don't want to spend money, you can simply sort this thing, filter it with the free option, and also sort it with, let's say, difficulty easier first. Okay. So today we will be looking at this 3-column preview card component challenge, and I have already completed this challenge, as you can see. But still, you can always go here, and as soon as you click on that challenge, it will show you the challenge, what you have to build in the desktop design and the mobile design both. Okay. And since I'm using the free subscription, I will not be able to get the sketch and the Figma files. Okay, but you can subscribe to their pro subscription and get these assets. Okay, so once you click on the visit challenge hub, okay, you can simply download the starter kit. I've already downloaded it at my end. Let me check that. So it's in my desktop here. Okay, so I extracted it on the zip file, and these are the files which you will get as a part of the starter kit. So if you read this style guide, okay, let me link that here now. So as you can see, they give you the basic information like what they need. I mean, what you should be building, and let's say they give you the colors which you should be using in this project: the bright orange, dark cyan, and very dark cyan. Then you have the neutral colors, white and gray, and the font size for the body you should be using is 15 pixels. And these are the fonts which you are supposed to use in this entire project. So you can simply click on this link and download those fonts. Okay, so as simple as that. Also, you have the images which you will be using in this entire project, and the design files. So once you click that, it will show you how the end design should look like. This is the desktop view, and as you can say, this is the active state. So you see when you hover on one of these buttons, so it should turn like this, and the default state is this for the buttons, and this is the mobile view. Okay, so we're creating all these things together. All right, so let me quickly minimize this, and from here I'll simply be copying. I believe this is my finished version, so I'll simply copy the images and the index file. I've already created a blank project here in my local drive. I'll paste the two files, or let's say, let me quickly go back here and go to the compressed file section. I'll get a brand new, uh, let's say, folder here. Okay, let me extract it here itself in this documents folder, because that HTML file will be already completed that I was showing you earlier. I want this, I want an empty file so we can practice together. And I hope this time you are able to hear my voice properly, because I recently purchased a new microphone as suggested by many of my subscribers. So finally I managed to get one. So hopefully my voice is not distorted and there is no background noise today. All right. So this is the HTML file which you get out of the box. Okay, it has nothing, no markup in it, just the text here and a div here, which I will remove because I don't use it. I don't like it here. So I'll simply remove the style from here and the div. I don't really like it. Okay. So you have the images and the index.html here. All right. Let's create a couple of folders quickly. I'll create a folder for my Sass. I will be using Sass. That's the preprocessor for CSS. You can use CSS if you want, but this helps me a lot and gives me a lot of flexibility, which the regular CSS is not able to provide, unfortunately. So inside the Sass, I'll use a CSS file. I'll name it style.css. I don't want to enable the compiler here because I have the compiler installed globally in my machine. So I can simply type Sass hyphen version. So I'm using this current version as 2.13.4, and this is Dart2.js. Make sure you're using Dart2.js, otherwise you might see some errors if you're using an older version of Sass, because Sass has got some recent upgrades. Okay, and I'll navigate to this project. So I'll navigate to this project name, and I'll start my compilations. I'll use the watch mode so that I don't have to refresh my command prompt, and Sass exe will automatically watch for any changes and automatically update it. So I want that this compiler to look inside the Sass folder, and it's my style.css file, and put it in css style.css. Okay, as soon as I hit enter, you will see it says compiled Sass to this, and you will see a new folder here as soon as I click on the IDE. And by the way, I'm using WebStorm. Okay, if you want, you can use any IDE of your choice. It's up to you, and there is no such restriction that you should be using WebStorm or Visual Studio Code. It's up to you. So please make a choice and be happy with it. All right. So first things first, I'll simply use some reset code here. So to reset the default margin and padding, I know people might argue that using the wildcard selectors is not the best practice. I know, but this is a small project, so I don't want to make things complicated. Okay, so let's stick to the basics. I'll remove the margin. I'll remove the padding all across, like top, bottom, right, left. Okay, and also set the box sizing to border box. Okay, so as soon as I hit save and go back to my console, you'll see it compiled my CSS, and let's see what we have in the CSS file. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna split the screen and move this style.css to the right. Okay, so that I can have a look what's been compiled and what's not. And we also need to link the style.css here. So style.css. Also, if you remember, we have two fonts. These are my Google fonts. So I simply click it. Not. It's not working from the Notepad++. Let me open here. We have Lexen data, and I need the weight 400. So let's see, weight regular 400. Select the style. Also, I need big shoulders display. So simply copy the name and put it in the search bar. There we go. And I need the font size 700. Font size bold 700. Simply copy this link tag from here and go back to your IDE. Put it on top of your style sheet. So this should come first, and then your style sheet, and then I need what? I need the font family here. Okay, perfect. So I'll create two variables in my SCSS file. And before I do that, let me quickly increase the font size by zooming in. Okay, so let me go to my settings here, or I'll go to my scheme font, increase this to, let's say, 20, so I can see the text in a better manner. Okay, going back to my SCSS file, I'll define the root element. So I'm using the pseudo root element here, and I'll define some CSS3 variables. So this is a new introduction in CSS, that you can create your own variables like we used to do in Sass. So in Sass, if you want to define a variable, you can simply put a $sign and give a name like font size and put any value there. Okay, so that will be your variable, and you can use it. Let's say font size dollar font size, like that. But I mean, this is still valid. Okay, this code is still valid, and if I hit Control Save, we'll notice that this compiled, and here we have the font size 15 pixels. Okay, perfect. But I don't want that to. Okay, let me refresh, remove this, and before I do anything else, let me run the debug mode on my HTML file so that I can get a live preview. That should open my Chrome browser here. Okay, perfect. And it has nothing. As you can see, I only have the text here. All right. So I'm defining few variables based on the information given here. So first I will use bright orange. Okay, I'll copy all this and put here. So I like to name it the same like what we have there in the style guide. Okay, you can name it anything you want, and make sure whenever you're declaring the variables, you put 2 dashes. Okay, so this indicates that this is a CSS variable. And the next thing is hyphen color. So CLR is for color, very dark sad. Perfect. We have 3 colors now, and as you can see, these got compiled here as well. Next we have transparent white and transparent white. Okay, so I'll be using this for the paragraphs. As you can see, they gave me a hint where I can use this. And similarly, the very light gray, I can use it in the backgrounds, headings, and buttons. Okay, this is pretty handy and helpful actually. Let's do it quickly. Light gray. All right, so that's about the root colors. I'll also use the font family. I put a font family. What do we have here? We have Lexend and Big. So I'll name it Lexend and Big. Okay, so I'll copy this code from here. So for Lexend, this is the code. Copy and paste it here. Okay, remove the extra semicolon. For Big, it's this one, Big shoulders. Okay. Perfect. Now I'm gonna go to my body tag. Here I'll define the font size, the default font size. So as per the document, 15 pixels. You can convert this in rems if you want, and the formula will be 15 divided by 16 equals to, so 16 is 1 rem equals to 16 pixels by default. So if you want for the value for a value of rem for 15 pixels, simply divide this value by 16. So I'll create a function later on, maybe that will do the job, but for the time being, let's stick to the default font family. I'll use And the way you use these variables, the CSS variables, is using the var command. So var function, I mean. Okay, so you put var two parentheses and then the name of your variable. So save it. There we go. Now if you go back to the browser, see this has changed here. Okay. All right. So we have here the body. Now let's quickly work on the markup here. So it's pretty simple markup. We have three cards, we can say. Okay. And on the wider screens, that is on tablet and above, it should be in line, okay, in a row. But in smaller devices, it should have it should be stacked on, I mean, on each other. So let's quickly create the markup here, the HTML markup, I mean. So the first thing I'll do, I'll create a section tag here. You can create the main tag also if you want, doesn't matter. I'll give it a class of cards. So this is my parent container, and I'll also give it a class of container, which I'll style later on. And this container class will help me in centering the entire layout. Okay. Then inside this, I'll create individual cards. Okay. So the first card is for sedans. And let me just check the diagram. What do we have here? What's this? So I'm working on the desktop design first. You can create mobile first. That's your choice. So we have sedan, we have icon, heading, and paragraph, and the button. Four things. Okay. So let's do that. I'm going to create a div inside the card. This will hold my icon, and I'm using the BEM notation here. As you can see, my parent is card and my icon has card underscore underscore icon. Okay, so this is the BEM notation, that is block, element, and modifier notation. If you want to learn more about this, please go through the document available on the internet. And there are so many articles and blogs available, which will give you a pretty good knowledge on this BEM format. Okay. So inside this, I'm gonna put the image. So first image is my sedan. It's a SVG. So it's really nice. And I also give a class on each of these cards. So I'll know which card is what. All right. So here, first one is sedan. After that, I'll have a div, and the class will be text. Inside this, I'll have a h2 that will have this what do you call, heading, and then we have this paragraph with a p tag. So it's a simple markup, nothing fancy. All right. The last thing I have is the two underscores button. I'll use a button tag here with a class of btn, and I'll also give it a class of btn sedan. Okay. And here I'll say learn more. So let's see how it looks. Go back to the browser. Okay, this is the current output, which is okay because we don't have any stylings as of now. So let's copy this entire card div, put it 2 times, and the next thing, second one, which is this one, should be SUV. I'll change this to SUV and the alt tag to SUV also. And I'll copy the text from here, but go back here, paste that from here, paste it here. It's kind of copy paste, a lot of stuff. Okay. So with this, we will finish the markup at least, and then we'll focus on the styling part. Okay, that's the main purpose of this tutorial, to learn how to style these web pages or cards basically. So this is my luxury, and here I'll change it to luxury, if I could spell it right. Right, save the changes, go back to the browser. So there we have the markup. That's all about your HTML part. You can simply, if you want, you can close this, or if you want to keep it open as a reference on the right hand side, feel free to do that. I'm going to close it to save some space, so you can only focus on the style.css. That's the only style sheet, or only Sass file I'm going to use. Okay, so let's go down. Next, after body, I'll create that container class. Let's put a comment here, container to center the div. So container class, and I'll use margin left auto and margin right auto. And the reason I'm defining these properties individually, like margin left and margin right, instead of using the shorthand margin, is because I don't want to mess up with any margins defined somewhere else for the top and bottom. Okay, but if I use margin 0 auto, so that will essentially uh, make my top and bottom margin 0. I don't want that. Okay, so this container should only center out my layout. And if I go back to the browser, so nothing happened, right? Really? Okay. But I have this container here, and the reason why it's not happening is because I don't have a width set for my cards. Okay, so let's go to the cards here. So the first one is my cards, the parent div. Okay, so I'll give it a width of, let's say, 80 view width. So view width is a new unit that is essentially checking your available width and giving it 80% of it. I mean, utilizing 80% of the available width here. Okay, you can also use 80% like this. It will also work, but I prefer using width viewport units here. So for the height, let's give it a static value of 830 pixels. This is a value I initially calculated, so will not notice anything here. But now, as you can see, this thing has been shifted to the right. Okay, it's centered now based on the given width. And the way you know it is if you give it a border to check, so you will see that this has equal gap from left and from right. Okay, this is my empty space because I don't have any content here. All right, so let's remove the border. Next, I want to give it a background color. Again, I'll use my variable very light gray. Okay, perfect. You see this nice blue color here, the background. And this is the beauty of your variables, CSS variables. So I want all the cards to be in a row. So I'll use the Flexbox here. So I'll use display flex. And as soon as I hit save, you will notice all of them, they line together. Okay, perfectly fine. Next thing is my aligning. I want to align the items with center and justify the content to center as well. So now by writing these two lines, I've made the content appear in the exact center of my div. Okay. In the font, let's see. So instead of Lexen, let's use big here. Okay, that's my default font I want to use. I also give it a background color of very light gray for my entire body. Okay, there you go. All right. So moving on to my card here. So we have justified and aligned the content. And next, we want to set a margin top of 3 rems. And one rem is 16 pixels. So this is 48 pixels approximately. Okay, not approx, it's the exact thing. And you can check that. Let me just show you. So margin top, right? If I go to the developers tool here and select the cards, as you see, margin top is 3 rem, and go to computer section, you'll see margin top is 48 pixel here. Okay, so it's 1 rem is 16 pixel, so 3 times that. All right, going back to the layout. Now we'll target the individual card here. Okay, so I'll give it a max width for each card of around 320 pixels and a height of, let's say, 520 pixels. So I calculated these values while I was preparing the challenge or working on the challenge. So you can actually use any tool like Adobe XD to measure those heights. Okay, so you simply open this design and measure this height. It'll give you a fair idea how long or how tall it should be. Okay, so height is 520. I will also give it a padding of 20 pixels, top and bottom, and 3 rem, left and right. Okay, so each of this card, so these cards here, so they have content. Okay, so I want to use Flexbox again, make this the card itself a flex container, and the flex direction here should be column so that it will stack on top of each other. So the content inside the card will be stacking. Okay, and let's say justify content space around. So let's see how it looks. Looks pretty good. Although we don't have the background colors yet, we'll work that in a moment. So next, let's target the H2 inside card. So I'm actually nesting things, and you can do this in Sass but not in CSS. So in CSS we would write it like this: card H2. Okay, and on the right, if you see, it's actually compile. If I put anything here like the color white, it will give you this. Okay, so card H2. Okay, so I don't want that. So this flexibility is pretty handy and it's only available if you're using Sass. So okay, so for H2, what I want a font size of I don't have a variable yet for the font size, right? Okay, let's create a couple of variables for font size. I'll put the default as 15 pixels, medium as, let's say, 37 pixels, and large as 48 pixels. These are random values, okay, which I entered here. And for H2, I will be using, let's say, medium one, medium. So you translate to 37 pixels, okay. Font weight 700, and color, I'll use the very light gray. To the variable margin top, I need of approximately -4 rems. It's a negative margin that I can push it to the top. Okay, move it to the top, and I'll use a text transform of uppercase to make everything in uppercase. Let's see. It's gone because we don't have the background yet, so still here, but you can't see it. Okay, let's quickly work on the background then. So that will be on per what do you call, card basis. But before we do that, let's quickly finish the other elements that we have sequentially. We have paragraph tag just after the h2, and the padding top I would be putting as 2 rems. Color, again, I think it's the same. No, it's transparent white. Okay, I'll give it a width of 13.75 rems. So all these numbers that I'm entering here are pre-calculated. So you need to calculate this by hit and trial method. Yeah, and you will, once you're satisfied, you can use that particular value. So the line height I want is 1.4. Font family will be var Lexen, and font weight is 400 for my paragraphs. Next, let's target the button that we have inside the card. Border radius you need of 30 pixels. Give it a nice round shape. See, nice round borders, I mean. We'll give it a padding of, not padding top, padding of 0.8 rems top and bottom, and 2.2 rems left and right. We'll remove the outline, and we remove the border. We don't need the border, and I'll give it a background color of very light gray. There we go. So the font family for the buttons again will be Lexen. And you see, the beauty of creating variables is that you don't have to type the entire thing again and again. Otherwise, I would have to type the entire font family code here. So this is very handy. You can also use Sass variables directly instead of the CSS variables. You are free to do so, but CSS variables is the way to go. All right. So make sure you always use the latest what do you call latest techniques. I mean, sorry, I'm simply out of words, and it's really hard to speak and type at the same time. Right. So the next thing I want is a pointer. So I'll change my cursor to a pointer, and the margin top I want to give it a negative margin of 2 pixels. Maybe not 2 pixels. Okay, we'll come back to this later. So now we have a button, and if I go back to my HTML quickly, so I have a button, yeah, button sedan, button sedan, button sedan. So this should be changed. This is SUV, and the first one is sedan, then SUV, then we have luxury. Okay, save it. Now I'll target btn dot sedan. That's my first class. Okay, not dot, it's a hyphen. I'm sorry. So this ampersand here translates to the parent. So this is btn. I'm nesting inside the dot btn. So this is essentially writing like this: btn dot btn sedan. Okay, like this. So it's a shorthand, and that's why I love Sass. So this is bright orange, bright orange. Save. See the changes. This is the text. Okay, text color. Transition, let's say all. I'll give it a transition of 0.2 seconds. That's 200 milliseconds used in and out. Well, we'll have a nice animation effect going on when we hover. So let's create a box shadow of 10 pixel in vertical. That's 10 pixel for the spread or blur, I believe. Yeah, that's blur. RGBA. Inside this RGBA function, when you're using Sass, you can simply use the variables, and Sass will convert it for you. Okay. Next thing, what I will do, I'll give it a transparent border of 2 pixels, and you will see why I'm doing this in a moment. So next is the hover. So I'm targeting the hover class, the hover pseudo class here for this sedan button only, since I'm working inside the sedan curly braces. As soon as we hover on the button, the background color I want to change to bright orange, and the border it should have is 2 pixel solid and very light gray. Now, okay, then let's go back to the browser. You see, I do this and I get this nice hover effect. And my color here, I need to change my color also to our very light gray. Okay, now this is what you get. And the reason I put this border here in transparent mode, if I simply comment this out, you will notice there's a slight movement of this text to the top. Just have a look here. You see my entire content moves. Okay, I don't want that to happen. So if I give it a transparent border all the time, so now if I hover, you see there is no movement. Okay, it's a fix or workaround, you can say, whatever you want to call it. And essentially we will be having the same logic for other classes that you have in the buttons. It's just that they have different colors. So I'll put one for SUV and one for luxury. So this is for SUV and this is for luxury. uh, Come on. For luxury, this is dark. What do we have? Very dark sand. Okay. And this, let me copy this. Same thing. Background is dark sand. Color is fine. And this one is dark sand. Okay, the lighter version. Copy it. Go here. Go here. Now check. Fresh. Okay. Sometimes it doesn't refresh automatically. That's okay. So we have orange, dark sand, and a darker version here. Okay. Now let's uh, work on so this is where my button ends. You can minimize or collapse it. Now let's focus on the actual sedan or SUV classes. So this will have a border of 1 pixel solid. The color it would be having is orange, of course. Background color is orange, no doubt about it. Save, go back. There you go. Okay. Should also have a border. See the design. Go back to design. You notice there is a nice rounded edge here on the top left, bottom right, and top right. Okay. So let's do the same thing. So it's border top left radius, and the value should be 8 pixels. Similarly, it's border bottom left. Save the changes and go back and see. Now we have the nice rounded corners. Now here it will merge with my middle one, so I'm not bothered about this one, this edge. Next we have dot SUV. SUV will have border of 1 pixel solid, and the color is dark sand, and background color, you guessed it right, it's same dark sand, nothing else, because both of them are sharing the borders. Okay, you don't have to worry about the borders. But for the last one, luxury, and you see the reason why I've given them separate classes is because it makes my life so easy to target them and uh, style them. Otherwise, you could have used the pseudo elements like nth child and all those stuff. But this makes my life a little easier. Okay, same code from here is pretty much. Color is very dark sand. for both of them. And this, instead of top left, it'll be top right and bottom right. Save the changes and see the result. So this is pretty much our desktop layout is finished. Okay, now let's focus on the mobile part. For mobile, we need to write media queries. Okay, and the first media query that we will be writing is under the body here. So the way you write media query is putting the @ symbol and type media, then type screen, and then your media condition. So the condition is my maximum width. So when the browsers or the device's maximum width is equal to 979 pixels. This is a value I chose. You can choose any value that suits your design. So I'll give it a padding top of 12 rem, and I'll use the important flag here. Similarly, padding bottom 12 rem, important flag. And again, you see I am targeting the individual properties, not the shorthand, because I don't want to mess up with my left and right padding. Okay. And the next media query will be for the cards, the parent card holder here, or the card container. So I'll use, I mean, you can directly use the media query inside the nested area, and this will automatically target your cards. Okay, this is the beauty of Sass. So max width, same 979 pixels. I'm only targeting one screen size here. It will automatically switch between mobile and desktop. So I'm not focusing on a tablet layout here that much. So my tablet layout will be equal to the mobile layout. That's why I'm keeping this max width as 979 pixels. All right. So I want them to stack. So I'll use the flex direction as column because my container is already a flex container, and default it's flex row, the direction I mean. So I'm changing it to column, so it'll stack on top of each other. And I'll give it a width of 100 view width. So occupy the entire thing, entire view that you have on the device. I'll also give it a padding bottom of, let's say, 40 pixels inside the same media query. So let's see how it looks like. So if I save the changes, go back to my browser, and I turn on my developer mode. Okay, so here I have my screen size. So it's 1628 right now. So let's squeeze it to 979. Okay, so you see on top, so till 979 here, it's still in the column or stacked format. But as soon as I hit one more pixel, so this goes to the row layout. Okay, it's pretty handy. So now we need to fix this layout a little bit, and we'll be done. So let's do that. So now I'm targeting my individual card here. So nothing much. So I want them to occupy 400 pixels. So this is a shorthand notation for flex, flex grow, flex shrink, and flex basis. So these are three properties. So I'm essentially giving the card width of 400 pixels. So save the changes, go back here. So now you see it's a height of 400 pixels. Okay, because they are stacked right now, so it will be the height. So now this is done. I also want to target the heading 2 element, and let's give it a margin top of -1 rem to give it nice space here. Okay, and then we have the sedan class, sedan. So border, as you can see here, that if I go back to my mobile layout, so now it's not on my left and bottom, it's on my left and right, top left, top right. Okay, similarly here we have bottom left, bottom right. So I have to change that thing. So I'm changing it here. So bottom top left radius, it's still 8 pixels. border top right radius 8 pixels, and border bottom left radius I'll put it to 0. And this is important, so I'm overriding this. Okay, similarly I'll have same rule for my luxury class, because my SUV class doesn't have any border radius. So this will be top right, top right radius to set to 0. And here I'll set border top sorry border bottom left radius to 8, and bottom right. Save changes, go back and see. We have nice rounded corners here. Okay, and our content is looking pretty nice. We need to give it a spacing here. Let's see. So our H2 is going on top. Let's say margin dot with a negative sign here. Dash. Nope. Goes up. Let's inspect this element here. And oh, okay. It says margin top 4 rems. Okay, there we go. We have to remove it because this is my coming from my default styles, but I need it for my media queries. So media query has to override this. So let's see, but it's not overriding. I'll 20 -1 and important. Let's see. There we go. Refresh. Wonderful. So now if you go take it back to the desktop view, this is your final view. And to install the screen size, I mean decrease the screen size, so you'll get this nice layout with gap at the top and the bottom. So this is coming from my body padding here that I'm giving in the smaller screen sizes. Okay, so this pretty much concludes the challenge here, and you will find the source code in my GitHub repo. I'll share the link in the description of this video. So I hope you liked it, and I will be recording many more tutorials for a few of the other challenges that are there on the website. You can also go log in there. This is the website, so you can look for all the other challenges that are present here free of cost. Okay, start with the easier ones first, like this one. So next time probably we can have a look at this one. It's a little tricky, but it's still will give you a lot of exposure to different CSS properties. Okay, I'll show you. We will work on this together the next time we come. Okay. So till then, please share your comments, your suggestions, your feedback, and I hope this time the audio was clear and you were able to learn something new out of this tutorial series. And hopefully I'll see you soon. So please stay tuned with me and take care. Have a wonderful day ahead. Bye-bye.